believe it because I actually only started watching it about 20 minutes to go, and I flicked it on. I thought I looked at the score and I was like, great, Leinster hammered them. And then I saw that it was the other way around. I couldn't believe it. I had to call in my dad, my man. Look at this.
Joe presents House of Rugby, together with Bank of Ireland, proud supporter of the 4 Irish provinces.
Hello and welcome back to House of Rugby, together with Bank of Ireland. I'm Greg O'Shea and I'm here with the legend Lindsay Pete. She's a bit rough today, lads. She won a big cup on the weekend.
Yep, we won the All-Ireland Cup.
Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, rough.
But you still came in. You still came in, I appreciate it.
I would not miss sitting next to you, honey.
Still half cut, I'd say.
No.
And beside you, we have a Leinster legend in his own right.
Yep.
Say that.
Conor O'Brien, you've joined us. We really appreciate you coming in. Did you come from Mullingar or Dublin today?
No, he came from Coppers with me.
I was with my girlfriend in Kildare last night. So
Oh, nice.
there you go.
She's out in the car, so she is.
She's waiting for you out there. No, so it was an early start this morning, but yeah, no, it's good to be on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, great to have you on. You obviously played, I think, 28 times for Leinster. I was doing a bit of research. 28,
yeah,
was it?
I think roughly, maybe a bit less.
Maybe, yeah, well.
Probably a couple of A games thrown into last
Yeah.
We count them all.
You played for Irish 20s. You went all the way up the ranks. Unfortunately, you had to retire through injury. We'll get to that at the end of the show. We're going to ask you loads of questions what you're up to now, because I'm very interested to know. But we had URC on the weekend, guys.
Yes.
It was good. It was good to see Leinster finally get a loss. I love Leinster, but put a bit of manners in them. Calm them down a little bit. First loss of the season.
Right, sorry, we brought our academy lads.
And it was a good loss as well. It was like, what was it? What was the score, Jason?
Let me see that smile.
62-7.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Do you want to say it again? Say it again.
Like, I kind of want to get stuck into that one straight away, if that's all right. I know we're going to do Munster, but we'll do.
Are you looking for permission off him? You're absolutely.
I'm going to go
for
to the Leinster man first.
Yeah.
62-7. They lost against the Bulls.
Yeah.
How?
Well, I have a question actually. When's the last time we were bet by more than 50 points? Does anyone have a stat on that?
I'd say never.
Has that ever happened before?
Never.
That's what I
I'd
was
say
wondering.
never. And what I wanted to look up before
Sorry,
coming in
yeah.
was Bulls scored 9 tries against Leinster. Have Leinster even conceded 9 tries all season?
No.
So I can't think. Definitely.
When we do things right. You know what I mean? When we lose well.
No,
We lose
half measures.
heavy.
When we win well.
I have a feeling that first 13 minutes was grand. You held them, and then they just came like a wave of South Africans. And I have a feeling that they're like, lads, just lose heavy, so we can just blame it on the seconds team. And they all just went down.
Yeah, it was a bit easy, to be honest. Like, the Bulls cut through us. Like, some of their rugby actually was exceptional, but
Well, in fairness, now have you played against South African sides a couple times?
Yeah. I played against. They're big men, big men. And if they get on top of you early, it's sort of they can play the corners, play smart rugby as well. Yeah. But it's bound to happen at some stage in like a 10-year period when you have 2 full squads, which Leinster does, that you're going to take a hammer and again. It was going to happen, but. That was I couldn't believe it because I actually only started watching it about 20 minutes to go, and I flicked it on. I thought I looked at the score and I was like, great, Leinster hammered them. And then I saw that it was the other way around. I couldn't believe it. I had to call in my dad, my man. Look at this.
It was crazy. I couldn't believe it either.
Yeah.
And it just kept going. But I've played against a couple of South African guys. Curtly Arons, I played against the centre as well, Stefan Gans. And when those guys get up and going, it's just so hard to stop them.
Scary, man.
If you give them time to just start getting some
they
momentum.
were good.
Honestly, it's like chasing shadows.
Yeah.
And you could see they were just thrown off those, not even looking, running around the Leinster lads. The Leinster lads were just young boys. It was crazy.
they are young boys. That's the difference. They are, to be fair.
No, they are.
Come on. Max Deegan was playing number 8. He's well seasoned.
Oh, sorry. One
There
fella.
was young lads scattered throughout the Leinster team, for sure. But no, it was a shocking result, really.
Yeah,
as in, I was shocked. But those lads with that footwork and what you're talking about there, it's nearly unhuman what they're doing. It's they get to the line, they're running at 100 miles an hour, and their change direction is something I haven't seen now in a while. And then their ability to play as well, because you think South Africans is direct, physical, but they have the ability to throw on the footwork, and it's scary when it gets going.
Ridiculous. Their back three of Arons and Moody, they were just incredible.
They played very well. It was, I hate to say it, they were good.
They were good.
Yeah, they were very, very good. Some of the rugby they played, their running lines, the thing is, we weren't even tackling well. Like, we were letting them get in the offload all the time, so we just made life difficult for us. And we kind of looked a bit, I don't know, we weren't in the fight, like, do you know what I mean? For a while, it was really men against boys, you know. And I think it'll be a good a good life lesson now for the lads. But like, it'll hurt their ego now. To be honest,
I know. I love Leinster. I'm just slagging, like, because I just couldn't believe the loss. But why do you think that might have happened, Conor? Like, it's just.
As I was saying there, it's basically like having another squad of players, and obviously there was so many young lads playing that maybe you have one of those days where just nothing goes your way. They start getting on top. They're feeling real good. Maybe lads are second guessing themselves, and I can't really. That's what I'd say. The one thing that Leo and Stuart would be most disappointed with is, say, like losing the physical battle, like those sort of non-negotiables, the attitude stuff that. Get up, get off the line, get reset quickly, get into position, work hard. Possibly, I don't think they'd be happy with some of that stuff. But other than that, it's sort of an anomaly. It's quite a bizarre result, I would say. Yeah. And I would be fearful of the next team Leinster play, because it'll be like
just poke the bear now.
I would imagine there'll be a huge reaction, but it's not necessarily a bad thing losing a game. But like that, it's. I just couldn't really believe it. To be
it's
honest.
the nature of the loss, isn't it? Because actually we've chatted a long time. Like, obviously, Stormers a couple of weeks ago, they got the draw and they had such a good comeback, and we were kind of questioning that. But like, Leinster never deviate from the game plan, but they did over the weekend, and I thought that was the strange part. Like, they always kind of know what they're doing. Yeah, and that was something I found strange for them. They kind of went away from the game plan and they didn't stick to themselves. And look, the likes of Brian Deeney there, Alex Soroka, who's just got his first senior contract. So they've a lot of really good up and coming players, but they just seemed out of sorts now, to be honest.
Yeah, see, I would have initially gone for the excuse that it's the B team, it's the academy lads. But those lads have been playing well all year. Yeah. Like, for instance, they played Lions away. I think was it last week,
yeah,
and they came back and beat them 39-36. Yep. That same team. So, their prep must have been off. Maybe too long down in South Africa. Like, I don't think we can blame the fact that it was the young squad.
No, and they weren't a week on the beer either after the Lions game. Right?
Was that it? Yeah,
no,
most of it.
No, they weren't. That's what I was saying. It's just a sort of a freak result, I'd say. And I wouldn't look into it a whole pile. It's a bit strange the way it was 55 points when we did lose, you know.
And do you think, I was wondering, would Leo Cullen now do a review of that, or will they just park it and move on?
No, they'll do a quick review of it, but it's going to be park and move on quickly.
Yeah.
Sumo, they say, shut up and move on. You know, there's no dwelling on it. It's just dealt with very quickly and move on, deal with the next week.
They wouldn't be meticulously going through each phase.
No, but they'll refer to it for the rest of the season, definitely. In weeks to come, in meetings, they'll constantly go back to that game and how it felt. It'll be constantly reminded you of. But in terms of the analysis of the game, I think it'll be parked fairly quickly. But then, you know, if we win, then the next game it'll be like, do you remember that game? We lost by 55 points. Yeah. You know, it'll be fairly. It's just one of those things. A result like that always sort of sticks with a team throughout the season. In years gone by, say Glasgow, I remember my first year playing, we lost early in the season, and it was constantly reminded about how bad it made us feel. And I would say that this would be another one, especially for that group of players. I don't think it'll be bet into the senior team as much, because I suppose they can't really relate to it as much. Most of those guys weren't playing, but for sure in the weeks to come, it'll be Monday or Tuesday when lads are feeling a bit good and, you know, getting a bit confident again, to be like, remember that game?
Would it be like when you're celebrating lifting the URC and the European Champions Cup, and then they'd be like, were you part of the Bulls 23? Were you in that team? Get away from those clubs.
Yeah. Move away.
Like
don't jinx them.
I love it.
It's sobering. I think it's a good sobering.
It is, I wouldn't look a whole lot into it. No. You know.
Nice reset for the business end of the season for us, when we bring home all the trophies and we talk about it at the end.
Well, that's the thing. I still think they're going to win the URC and the Champions Cup anyway. Like, so it's just good to see there's a soft underbelly there somewhere. Do you not think, Jason, shouting in from the back seat there?
Yeah, definitely 100%.
He's like one of them lads on Twitter, isn't he?
Yeah, the troll. So let's move on to our beloved Munster, who fought back to draw 22-22 away to the Sharks. It was a mad game. I'm going to use
Yeah,
the
it was
cliche
crazy.
of a game of two halves. So Sharks were winning 19-3 at half time, I think, and then it flipped and Munster won the second half 19-3. They won 20, or they drew 22 all, and then both went away with 2 points, which is actually great for Munster.
Yeah.
If you offered Munster a win against the Stormers and a draw against the Sharks before going down 2 weeks ago, they would have bit your hand off for it. Like, so really good result for Munster. But did either of you catch the game? Did you watch the?
Just saw the highlights. I actually caught the end of it in Cork after the women's game, so I was down there at that, so I caught the end of it. And it was very exciting now in the pub. I was down in Cork, so obviously real Munster hub. So no, they came well, and we kind of said this over the season, when Munster's backs are against the wall, they really come out, and it was nice to see them fighting. So yeah, but mad game, absolutely mad game. It was like a pendulum, you know, swings and roundabouts. But nice to see your man Conor Murray on the score sheet.
Murray did well, yeah. Calvin Nash had an outstanding game.
Yes,
He's
Shane
been playing
Daly
well,
again.
hasn't he?
Yeah,
Shane Daly.
Very well, the
Played
two
with
lads,
Shane
yeah.
Daly, underage, good player.
They seem to have locked down those two wing positions in
Yeah, which
Munster.
is massive, yeah. But they're going well. Calvin Nash impressed me there the last few times I've played.
Yeah, his try was unreal. He went on around Werner Koch, crubbered down the edge, ran around him and scored. I was like, oof, Werner Koch's not a slow guy.
No, he's not at all.
And he's a smart guy. So do you think Calvin's playing well enough and consistently enough to get into an Irish squad?
Well, definitely be in contention anyway. I think for a wider squad and get in and show what he can do. I don't know him personally, but definitely watching him the last couple of weeks especially, I think he's been playing well.
Yeah.
Solid player, like, you know, which goes a long way. And those just back to the result, I think those results, while you didn't win the game, you know, you come back and draw a game like that, it's like as good as most wins you'd have, you know, because it's just, we grounded out away and it just feels so good, and it just it's one of those sort of things where you dig deep within you and sort of come out with a result. They're sort of the most enjoyable ones.
It was like the Munster of old. I actually watched it live and they were fighting non-stop.
Yeah.
Peter O'Mahony was scrapping everyone. He actually got yellow carded at one stage. They were all running in, punching
like
head
him,
off
is
each
it?
other. And I was like, this guy has to be doing this on purpose. Like, just get the boys riled
He
up.
would, yeah. Definitely, yeah.
He'd have to be.
100%.
Because I'm like, he's basically like sacrificing himself. He takes 10 minutes in the bin, but the boys are riled up.
Yeah.
And it worked because not only were they 19-3 down at half time, I think it went to 22-3 down. And then Munster came back and scored all those tries. And they nearly actually won it. So it was held up at the end. Gavin Coombs went over.
I saw that.
And got held up. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to win this thing. So it's really good for Munster to have that mindset and to kind of pull themselves back in as a cohesive squad going into now the playoffs. But like, Conor, do you think they have the ability to actually get to a final and meet Leinster, I presume?
Not at the minute.
No.
Potentially. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. It's sort of one of those things where if everyone played at the best of their ability and they were really all clued in,
Yeah.
singing off the same hymn sheet, because that's so important. Everyone's on the same wavelength, and you've got a real concise vision and plan for what you want to do in a game. And I just don't see that at the minute. But the potential is endless there as well. They've really good players, so there's no reason why not.
It is great to see that they went for 2 weeks in South Africa and had those decent results. But do you think that's kind of the peak now for this season, and that's what they'll
I
build
wouldn't
off for
say
next
it's
season?
peak either. That's what I'm saying. You can never write them off because they play off. They've good players that have history in the competition as well, which is massive.
Yeah.
So I would never write them off, but just on saying off, you say my head or heart, I'd say I would never back against them because they always have the ability to win a game. But it's just a question of whether they can do it this year. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, well, my hopeless optimism for Munster is continuing. And I love now that we're just playing Glasgow. We don't have to go to South Africa again.
Yes.
So we're playing Glasgow away, and Glasgow didn't play too well against Connacht now on the weekend. They just slipped a win. I think Munster can go over to Scottstown and get a win, guys, into the semi-finals then.
And
What do you
it's
think?
Oh, I definitely think you'd get into the semi-final.
Yeah.
And look, before Munster went down to South Africa, they were kind of really inconsistent. They'd had a bad run of results, they had bad performances, and I would have said, right, if you got one win out of the two, it was going to be a good trip for you. But I think it's going to galvanise them. I think they can really now kick on from here. I think semi-final would be minimum for them for the URC, to be honest. And they've qualified now for Champions Cup now. Next year.
That's when you put it like that. It's like, then that, you do give them a squeak when you break it down for the fixtures. It's like I could see them going to Glasgow and winning. I could see them, winning a semi. Then it's sort of like that. It's just Is that an open draw? What does it go into?
I'm
No.
not sure what semi they're lined up with. Like, yeah, but I just think at the end of the day it's going to be Leinster in the final. But if you offered Munster at the start of the season, Champions Cup qualification and a URC semi final,
You'd bite our hand
cool,
off.
nice one.
Yeah.
Box tick, Graham Roundtree, well done. Move on to next season because there's been a lot of chopping and changing in the Munster squad. They're still figuring it out. They're after going over to Mullingar, over to the O'Briens to get one of their sons to play. Your brother just signed, didn't he?
Son of Mullingar, yes.
Yeah.
Son of mine.
Yeah, Sean O'Brien, yeah, as the English commentators call him a Galwegian, which he's not. But yeah, he's over in Exeter now, and they're obviously prepping for a Champions Cup semi-final. So he's going to Munster, yeah. So it'll be an interesting one having him back in on home soil and getting to go over to a few more games.
Yeah.
I didn't get over to Exeter as much as I would have liked to have, so I'll get to go to sunny Limerick. For
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Only be putting on a Munster jersey in support.
No, maybe just a little red top or something now and again.
I'm not
Nothing.
sure. I wore Exeter gear over to the Exeter one.
It's not the same. It's not the
So,
same.
I'll wear red.
Yeah.
Maybe. That'd be a compromise, would it? I don't know.
Yeah, you just get away with it because it's your brother. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, fair enough.
I could wear maybe wear one of his previously worn jerseys, so it wouldn't look as bad now.
He was over with Jack Dunn, actually, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Jack's
Lockett
over
as
there.
well, Roy Lockett.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so
I
there's
forgot
a bit
Roy
of
was
an
in
Irish
there.
contingent.
Yeah.
Witten as well from the north. Who else was over there? I'm definitely missing out on one or two, but there's a decent Irish. It's a nice place, Exeter as well.
It
and
is.
a good
Yeah.
club. Like it's sort of got that AIL sort of feel to it because it's sort of they sort of worked their way up through the ranks.
Yeah.
And they got obviously to massive success and the real sense of community and the people there, and it's a very nice place. I like
proper rugby club.
Yeah, it
like,
is
isn't
proper
it?
rugby.
There's a
Yeah.
couple of the women over there as well.
Yeah.
Cleena Maloney's there, Laura Sheehan, Edel McMahon. So they actually won their semi-final of the cup because they have cup now at the minute until the Women's Six Nations is over. So
Right.
yeah, and Cleena was saying like she would have chatted to Jack. They kind of cross over a lot more. They would have had nights out with the lads. Fancy dress, the last one I heard, but we leave it there. We won't give any stories. But it seems a very nice club.
Yeah.
And it's very rural. Like it's like kind
It
of.
is. It's a great stadium, Sandy Park. I played
Yeah.
there a couple of times. Good community. It is a really good club. So how's your? I don't know how much insight we're allowed to get off you, but how's your brother feeling about making the move back to Ireland?
Excited, I would say, more than anything else. Obviously, it's a tough sort of decision to make, come back home, but I think it's the right decision, to be honest. If you look at the opportunities in the centre in Exeter versus Munster, like they're quite similar, but obviously with the departures from Munster and stuff, it's looking like the opportunities might be available more in the midfield in Munster, but he'll have to work harder than ever to try and get in as well. So it's no matter where you go, you have to work hard, and he has a lot to prove, I think, because he's 24 now, 25 in May, and he wants to just get on with it and get, I suppose, showing people what he can do. So he's definitely excited.
Yeah, and I presume there's kind of at the back of his head, like you need to be playing in Ireland to play for the Irish team.
Yeah.
And obviously he's going to try and get in the Munster team first.
But he's a back row, isn't he?
No.
Is he? What is he? Oh, he's a centre.
He's a centre.
Sorry, I beg your
Yeah.
pardon.
He's
Sorry.
as big as a back row, but plays in the centre.
This is all the confusion because there's been 4 Sean O'Brien's professional rugby
And you know what?
players.
I watched the Champions Cup
I know, yeah, we were
semi-final,
just
so I'm
talking
sorry.
about
I
it.
know. I don't know why I
it's
said
grand.
that.
It's I mean, the commentators in England say he's from Galway. He's I don't know nearly why he's playing in the centre. He's normally a back row, but no, he's a centre. And then there's the Tullow tank, Sean O'Brien,
Yes.
obviously the defence his defence coach in Leinster.
Yeah,
what's his
coaches
role?
Leinster. Yeah.
And then the back rower that was Leinster Academy, Sean O'Brien from
Yeah, no,
Blackrock.
'cause I was
there's
like,
plenty
jeez.
of Sean O'Brien's
And
doing
Sean
around.
O'Brien, is that the
Sean
Sean O'Brien
O'Brien
played for Connacht?
No, then there's the
another
retired
one.
Sean O'Brien back rower from Connacht, who's from Galway.
God.
So that's the confusion.
Yeah.
Be some
Maybe he should
five-a-side
change his
team,
name.
lads.
2 of them are red-haired.
Yeah.
One of them's from Carlow. I don't know. There's just.
I'm sure if you went down into some of the academies, you'd find another Sean O'Brien in one of them. as
All
well.
from the
Sure
Midlands,
there
yeah.
is, yeah.
That's insane.
Well,
Well,
we're
I'd
all
like-
related as well.
Are you? Oh, God. Say nothing. I'll publicly apologise. But
look,
it's still a tough
No, you're
position to come back, isn't it? The centres,
100%,
especially, like,
100%,
you know.
Yeah. There's
but
nowhere
obviously-
easy. There's no position easy in any club really, but especially in the provinces in Ireland, you'd never be like, oh, it's a great time to be a blank, you know.
Yeah.
A
Too
centre.
Well, I
To an
do
extent.
think there is a centre position up for grabs in Munster for next season because Fekitoa is leaving. Chris Farrell unfortunately had to leave as well. Frisch has kind of put his hands on that 13 jersey, but he's not like John. It's not like having a Brian Driscoll or Gary Ringrose. Like
Yeah.
you could fight him for it. There's Alex Nenkavelli coming up from the Chiefs. Yeah. So he's obviously coming up, going to put his hand up. Your brother's coming. Like Dan Goggins leaving as well. So that's like
there's a lot of moving parts.
Who's going to play 12?
For
Do you know what I mean?
There's
Rory Scannell's still there. He re-signed, but that's definitely up for grabs. The pre-season in Munster, those centres.
Yeah.
Like any centres listening, lads, you don't have a heavy June. Get back and ready. I'm telling you.
Start early.
Start early.
Yeah.
Do the extra runs because it's up for grabs there. The wings are kind of sorted. Daly and Nash have them, but yeah, there's definitely something up for grabs there. Okay, moving on to Glasgow and Connacht.
Yeah.
They were playing over in Scottstown. We kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. Glasgow won 29-27 in the end. It was a good game, very back and forward. They did all right. Like Glasgow came out of the blocks quick. Hugh Jones scored an early try. Hugh Jones is class.
Yeah,
you ever played against him?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, good player. Very elusive, I would say. His footwork's very good. Runs very aggressively, so it's quite hard to if you can get lucky and pick his line every time, you'll tackle him and whatnot. But then all it takes is one time for him to cut you open. So he's a good player. But I like marking him as well. I think just he plays quite man on as well. So like there was a couple of times when I played against him that you were able to take him on the outside and things like that.
Yeah.
So I did enjoy. It was a good battle, between the two of us. He was mostly at 13, I was mostly at 12, but still found ourselves in each other's channels a couple of times.
Run those hard lines at you.
He's a good player.
Yeah, I think he kind of runs the back line for them. If Munster go and play in Glasgow now in 2 weeks' time, I feel like they need to really stop him.
He'll be the key.
Yeah.
And he had a really good Six Nations with Scotland as well.
He did.
You know, he's full of confidence now at the minute. So
yeah, and I would have Tom Jordan is pretty decent as well. He got a try in the weekend. So Glasgow, they did what they had to do, but not the Glasgow of the whole season. Like they definitely were a bit shaky. But Connacht coming to Scottstown, they'd had 6 wins in a row. They're going for their 7th. So Connacht were in good form and they played well. Jack Carty was kicking really well. Keane Prendergast played at 8, which was interesting to see.
I know that,
played at 8, scored a try. I didn't know he was able to play 8, so I thought he was just an out and out 6.
No, I think he's been in and out. He has played there before, but like once or twice you're talking about. But mainly he's obviously played at 6. But no, I think we probably looked at that. It's always a tough. Glasgow are very strong at home, so
always are.
Yeah, they always are. You know, and Connacht again have had a really good run of wins. But it was kind of they did well, but I didn't expect them to win. If I'm honest, to be like Glasgow are so strong at home, and it was going to be a home win. So no, Connacht did well. I think they've come good at the latter part of the season.
Yeah, and Munster did Connacht a favour by getting a draw.
Yep.
With the Sharks, 2 points kept Sharks there in the 8th position, kept Connacht safe. They got their losing bonus point, which was ideal. But they were missing Mac Hansen, they're missing Bundy.
And they're too big. Like they played well last week.
Yeah,
they were included.
Bringing those 2 lads back in, and they're going up to play Ulster in 2 weeks' time, which is a tough fixture.
That'll be fiery.
Yeah, what'd you make of that one, Conor?
Again, you're talking about Glasgow being good at home, and then you go to Ulster. Ulster are very good at home.
Yeah.
I couldn't see Ulster losing that, but it's one of those things as well. Like that Connacht result, I didn't catch the match, but that's quite a good result. That's quite an impressive result just to get within that of Glasgow. I know I'm not saying Glasgow are world beaters or anything, but very hard place to go, as we were saying, and I think they'd take confidence in a lot of what went on in the game and take that into Ulster, I would say.
Yeah.
So it's not like a negative per se. It's sort of like take the learnings and we keep the momentum going. Try not to this is our season's done now sort of thing. I'd say keep it moving in that direction, the right direction, because obviously there are 6 of the last 7 results have gone their way. So I'd be sort of focusing on the goods rather than the bads.
Yeah. Well, you've played in plenty local derbies, and this is Cup Rugby, this is Knockout Rugby, quarter-final of the URC. What will the mindset be like of the Connacht lads going up to Ulster, and vice versa, just even playing like another province in a knockout game? Is it just that next level again, because you're playing against boys
Yeah, well, it's familiarity, so like you always play slightly different when you know kind of the person you're marking, the team, how they're set up, the environment, and that sort of gives you, it relaxes you in a way, but then it builds the pressure in terms of you've more clarity of thought with regards to what you need to do, the direction of the game, your surroundings, like I was saying, the players that are there, you sort of know the movements a lot better than if you were to go down to South Africa and play a game against the Bulls or something, for example, like that. So it's sort of it's a tricky one, because I think I always got more excited for the local derbies because it's a local derby, and also because you usually know the other person you're marking, and you know it's just familiarity. You just know you're not as thrown into the deep end as you normally would be playing against a team that you have never played against before. So
of course,
I would say it's exciting rather than. But obviously, then it comes with that. Then it comes pressure because obviously you want to win more than anything else.
Of course, and the Irish selectors are watching.
Exactly,
Like,
so it's big. It's big.
Especially
but
a try for
enjoyable
the Irish
games,
team.
Definitely.
Who was your favourite province to play against? Or did you have one?
I'd say probably the toughest one is to go to Munster, go to Thomond Park.
Come on,
and play.
come on, Thomond Park.
But I'd enjoy playing against Ulster. Ulster was always a good game, you know. Connacht, I was always, for some reason, when I played against Connacht, I was always like out on my feet after about 7 minutes.
Sports ground's a hard place to go.
It's so hard. They just seem to play a very expansive rugby, and I was just chasing shadows from.
Well, I don't know what the new pitch actually. Did you ever play in that?
No, I never played the new. No.
That old pitch was crap.
Yeah,
man.
and it was always. Everyone always says how windy it is.
Yeah.
Like so windy,
And wet.
so cold.
You
so
run
wet.
across that sand, the dog track onto the pitch. You're like, oh my god, I'm in the depths of the country here. Get me out.
Jumping over greyhounds.
Yeah.
But someone hit me up with a stat, and I don't actually have the stat, so it's sort of useless what I'm about to say. But
Give it a
about
go,
the
innit?
Connacht kickers that they were never able to like practice because the weather was so bad. So like you can't actually like learn to kick it as a normal, like say if you're kicking in a vacuum, you know, you'd be able to like practice your technique and whatnot. But the fact that it's so windy and wet the whole time over there that like you just never be able to like hit the ball straight sort of thing. There's no like
They never get to practice.
that was some
probably.
lad down at the pub, like over a pint, like sort of this pint telling me that, so there's no truth to it.
But it's not like they have
It's a
any
weird one,
indoor
isn't it?
pitches or anything. Yeah. Well, we'd have to ask Jack Harty. Maybe get him on.
No, I know Jack. He's a great kicker.
Yeah, he's a good
He's
guy.
a good guy.
He is a good kicker as well. In
He is
fairness.
very good.
Tough
player.
fixture going up to Ravenhill though.
So
against
hard,
Ulster. Like.
And Ulster are coming good. Like
it
John
called-
Cooney
is it called
started.
Ravenhill? Kingspan?
It's back.
Kingspan.
It's Ravenhill.
It's like Lansdowne North in the same. It's up to yourself what you want to call it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kingspan. Ravenhill.
Kingspan.
I thought it went back to Ravenhill to Kingspan. Anyway,
Doesn't
you know
matter
what I mean.
anyway.
Yeah.
Up the north.
There somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've made it a fortress now, and they're back really playing well. There was something in the media about, I don't know, someone, you know, not all is well in the dressing room, but it didn't see that
Seems
now.
fine to me up
Seems
there,
fine
yeah.
to me. John Cooney's back. Doe come off the bench. Robert Balakoon was there starting on the wing. Jacob Stockdale got a try. They had some lovely interchange. So they had some really, they were back to themselves. Like they were really, like, chests were puffed out. They were full of confidence. So
Yeah, they beat Edinburgh 28-14.
yep,
And it
played
was-
really well.
Edinburgh came out of the blocks fast as well, similar to that Glasgow game where Bennett, an unbelievable player by the way. Have you ever
Really
played
good
against
player.
him?
No, never played against him.
Oh
Very
man,
good player.
he's class. I think
Yeah.
he's so underrated. Every time
Yeah.
he plays, he's incredible. Like
Really solid.
gets that outside
Very, very
bounce.
good.
He also has an Olympic medal. I think he
Does he?
from Rio. He played with the GB7s team.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say like cycling when he was
No, yeah, the GB7
Okay.
team. Don't know, they were either silver or bronze, but yeah. So he's fast, plays in the centre. So he early on went on the outside and threw it back into Darcy Graham, and just I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be a good
Game
game.
over.
Then Ulster just pulled it together. Balakoon and Stockdale linked up lovely. They're both moving very well.
Very well at the minute. Actually, obviously, we've chatted about Jacob and would he got back into the Ireland squad, and he definitely did himself. He put his hand up over the
did.
weekend. I think, yeah, he was.
But do you think it's a race against time for Stockdale to get back into that
Yes,
squad?
I think, like we said, there's so many wingers like the likes of Mac and James Lowe. So I think he'll be possibly relying on either a drop in form, which I don't see happening, or an injury to get in there. And then once he gets in, excuse me, I think he'll stay there. But right now, I think he's really on the fringes, unfortunately.
What do you think, Conor? The old back three of Ireland.
All it takes is one game. One game is all you need to get yourself into nearly a starting jersey for Ireland. And it's so mad because if you think about it, if you play so well in, say, the URC final, URC semi-final or something like that, and you score 4 tries, man of the match, how can you not pick someone like that? That has a history of playing at that level. It's bizarre how it works, isn't it? Because like it's all about peaking at the right time, and I was never able to do it because I was obviously injured at that time. But timing is everything, the old saying goes. But like all it takes literally is one game, and it's mad. And sport's so fickle as well, like that. It's like people forget about past performances, and all they want to do is win now. And if someone's playing so good that they can't be dropped or they can't not be picked,
Yeah, it's that age-old
It's mad,
phrase. The best ability is availability when it comes to rugby. Like,
Yeah.
because everyone's able to play. It's just being ready to go and
Exactly.
being in the right position at the right time.
Yeah.
I just think like there's so many good players playing on the wings in Ireland, so it might have to come down to an injury as well.
Yeah, and I think he needs to stay injury free. Like Jacob needs to stay injury free now. Like he just needs to continue on the run. Like because he's obviously had such like obviously prior to the streak he's on now, he was obviously out for so long. I forgot about him even, to be fair, because there was so much happening and so much success. But I think, you're right. It just comes down, I think, to just a small gap in the door to get himself in. And if he can get himself in, I don't think he'll look back. He's doing all he can do. Like, he is playing really well at the moment.
He's an obvious choice to cover 15 if Hugo goes down. Touch wood. Hugo, don't go down, please. But that would probably be like... Jimmy O'Brien can obviously do it. You know Jimmy very well. But Jacob could do that as well. Who do you think... Or Mike Lowry's there as well. Who do you think is that person that could cover
Jimmy,
Hugo?
Jimmy, definitely, yeah. Well, like, Jimmy's as well good enough to start, so it's tough to, like, say. But obviously having so many... He has so many different tools because he can play, I think, probably every position. The man can play reasonably comfortably play 9, I think.
9 to 15,
if he needed to. Every other position, but it's bizarre. Like, but that's just the guy he is, isn't it? Really,
it is. Yeah, he used to do everything. Yeah, he's so nonchalant about it as well.
He is, but it's like when you're looking at someone for cover, it's sort of different because then you're kind of saying like who's going to start. So then who are you putting on the bench? Because say if I was playing in a team, I wouldn't be a very good choice for 23rd man or number 23 because like it's sort of just pigeonholed to centre. Yeah. So you want a guy that can cover like so many different positions and at a good level. It's not a big ask, you know.
And Jimmy's perfect, like
so it's
nearly to his detriment though that he's so versatile, Jimmy.
Yeah, but then he is good enough to start in one of those positions as well. So
I'm sure he started 13 against the world champions and played incredible and they won the game.
Yeah.
It's just such a weird scenario to be in and just be so talented.
That's the thing.
And sure, his performance the last day against Leicester was unbelievable. Unreal. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that he can come in off the bench as well, like nothing deters his. He just does what he does, doesn't he? He just knows what he does well, and he looked like he really enjoyed himself in that semi-final or the quarter-final. Sorry.
I'm glad you brought this up against Leicester. I had a question for someone that's been in the Leinster camp. Do you know all these out the back? You've someone coming short, someone out the back, or like when Harry Byrne threw it back inside the Jimmy against Leicester and he went through that gap, and all these little mini plays that you're doing, are they pre-called or are you just always running them and you just who's making those calls?
So sometimes they are, so you'd have like a lot of the times with Leinster you'd have like a three phases play. So from a line out or from a scrum, you'd have like hit up the midfield and then everyone knows what they're doing. Second phase coming around the corner. Third phase coming back, or keep going same way kind of thing. Or first phase could be wide, or so from that point of view, if it's I would say if it's close out from a scrum or a line out, I'd say it's pre-called. And then if it's sort of like going nowhere, and then you see something that happens, and it's like that's like an inside ball, or the one you're talking about there is reasonably easy to call, because it's sort of like say myself, Lindsay, and yourself and the ball's coming from the left hand side. It'd be just Lindsay putting up her hand, you're running short, like the call would say it'd be blue or something like that. She puts up her hand, that's where the ball's going, and you're automatically know that that's the line you're hitting, and the 10 is always out the back of that shape anyway, so it looks like a very pre-rehearsed move, but it's not the most difficult thing to do. Now the ones that I don't know if you were talking about the one Ireland against France, I think was a Hugo that ran in on that one. Like that was pre-called. Like because you're just like doing those turns and stuff. That's pre-called.
That was cool, and that was pre-called off a counter-attack. So they obviously identified that beforehand.
They would have, which is bizarre.
But Leinster, I just think, do it better than anyone else. These out-the-back plays and those inside balls, and you just make it look so easy. Where other teams try and do it, and it's just a bit clunky, and they're dropping the balls. Where Leinster do it perfectly every time, whether it's Tyg Furlong or Hugo Keenan. And is that because you're just repping it out every week?
Yeah, I think as well because like you're dominating. Like, most of the time when that stuff happens, you're coming from a position of power or dominance, like which is what Leinster experienced for most of the games, most of the season, and you kind of play with that. The shackles sort of come off a little bit more. Now, on the flip side, you could say that when you're losing, getting hammered, you can just start trying loads of different stuff, but then it tends not to work because, well, you're losing anyway. You're in that position for a reason. But it's sort of. I would say it's probably kind of a little bit of pressure is taken off But then I
Playing with
suppose
confidence,
I'm
but-
counter arguing myself now because
Yeah.
I'm like, there's pressure on you the whole time because
Yeah.
I mean there's someone coming behind you and there's probably someone in front of you as well.
Yeah.
In that Leinster dressing room, so I'd probably leave it down to that. Just the talent that's there is very good. We would do a lot of practice. I would have done a lot of the practice of like every Monday morning there'd be like a skills session which would be mostly offloading and stuff like that. So there is a lot of work done. Stuart would always say, you know, play with your heads up, and I'm not going to tell you what to do, kind of thing. You know, if you offload, just be in control of the ball. Don't be like throwing a blind, you know, as you're being tackled. Some throw like he, you know, go through you for that. But if it's on, play it, and he trusts your ability, sort of thing. So people do have the confidence to.
Yeah.
Like if they're professional rugby players as well, you'd expect that they have good skills, and the lads that mightn't have as good as skills just wouldn't do it then as well. So people know their
abilities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so make sure, I say just also being part of that environment. So you're playing at confidence level that no one else is because you're the best club team in Europe. And also, I say you're all pushing each other on. So if I'm seeing Conor O'Brien and Jimmy O'Brien and Gary Ringrose doing it every Monday morning, I'm like, oh, you really got to sort out my catch pass here. It probably has to be that because Munster aren't doing it as cleanly, or Connacht, or Ulster, any of those teams. So, yeah, Leinster are definitely flying the flag in that front.
They do, and they seem like you enjoy what you do. Do you know what I mean? Like you're able to express yourself, and I think when the shackles are off and you're allowed just play, I think that brings a difference. Plus, when you rep out so much and you spend so much time together, you know everyone's idiosyncrasy, so you just know what you're going to do. So there's a connection there, and that's essential. Now, why it doesn't happen for the other provinces, there must be something different. Maybe that's the competitive.
Just level of coaching, level of player, I presume.
Well,
that's the only difference I can really put my hand on. Like.
Do you think, actually, brings us on to a good point. Stuart Lancaster obviously now is leaving, and Nina Barr is coming in. Do you think there's going to be a big shift, or do you think, like, is it going to affect Leinster, the change in coaching, considering what he has done over the last number of years in his tenure?
Definitely there'll be an effect.
Yeah.
Like, you lose such an important cog in the wheel because he's the trainer. Like, so he would have trained us in the old-fashioned sense. He was our trainer, you know. And I don't know what the arrangement is, if they want to keep the blueprint that Lancaster had with regards to how we're trained and our mindset is. Yeah. Or if they're given...
What is it, Connor? Tell everyone what the blueprint is.
Don't
everyone
tell them a thing.
I can find out, though. No,
we nearly got the Leinster blueprint going.
You heard it here.
Okay, here's a secret.
We're selling it.
I don't know if he's going to be allowed to do whatever he wants and put his own... I would presume part of his negotiation would be, I do it my way.
Yeah.
But you have to play in the Leinster ethos under the, you know, you can't go in and start doing crazy stuff either. Yeah. So it's... I would say they'll see definitely there's always going to be an effect, though, massively. Yeah. But it's just a question of what sort of scope he has with regards to his playing style, training style, the attitude of the players, the mindset, and because that's always one thing that Stuart always had in us, is that we need to train like dogs and play like training's harder than matches nearly. You know, that's the way it always was, and like I would imagine that's going to continue as well, even when he leaves, because the attitude is, you know, you're very humble there on a Tuesday morning every time. Like it's just. And
his relationship, I would assume, with Leo Cullen is very good.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, so Leo's really good at that sort of. He knows who does he knows, I suppose, limitations, each player's limitations and coach's limitations, and what they're good at, and he just he has everything in place that everyone can do their job, and he trusts people to do their job. So he's very good at that, very good at delegating that, and making the hard decisions then as well. So you don't really appreciate it until you step back and see so many of the different moving parts, and it's like a CEO of a company. You know, you have to manage a lot of different things, and he's very good at it. Yeah,
Jacques Nienbar is a great signing. I played under his coaching regime at Razzie for 2 years, and the man is just built different mentally. Like he's all about mindset. And funny enough, him and Razzie have been together for years. It's the first time they're separating as a coaching staff. So Jacques was like a S&C coach, and then he qualified as a physio, and then he started learning the rugby route. So he just came with Razzie each team Razzie was with. He brought Jacques with him, and it's funny, as he was learning to be a rugby coach, he was also a qualified physio. So he was on the side of the pitch as the physio for the team.
Was he? Yeah.
For Munster.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
running on with
mad.
water as the physio, but he's the coach. Like, it's just, it was
That's gas.
outrageous. Like,
Isn't
yeah,
it?
it's
It's like
class.
Felipe coming out and doing the,
That's what it was
doing
like.
the head injuries. Like he's there, like testing your head and telling you, because he's obviously a doctor.
Yeah.
Like it's mad, isn't
It
it?
was so smart out of them. So he's trained him up from being just an S&C and physio to the head coach of South Africa. And then Leinster, that just shows the calibre of Leinster to pull a head coach of the world champions back to a club, being a club coach, which is just nuts. But the thing with Jacques is, I remember the first week he was in coaching in Munster, he brought everyone for a rucking session, right? And
Stop.
rucking, and he was like, he brought everyone in a huddle before doing the first drill, and he goes, hands up who here has a daughter, and some lads put up their hand. Hands up here who has a wife. Same thing, some lads put up their hands. Hands up who has a girlfriend. So eventually everyone had put up their hand, right? And he goes, all right, so when it comes to rocking, he's like, I want you to imagine that your daughter, your wife, your girlfriend is on the far side of that rock, and the other team are doing stuff to that. I'm not going
Yeah.
to say it on podcast,
Yeah, of
but
course.
like doing stuff that'd be criminally sanctioned. And that's the mindset you have to have when it comes to rocking. He's like, you do anything you can do to get through that rock. And that was his first week in. I was like, this lad means business. So I think Leinster will be okay. I think it's a good signing.
Yeah.
And he's going to come in. He's going to put his own stamp on it. And I presume as he's worked his way up the ranks to being South Africa head coach, that he's learned even more. And he's finessed that. But it's some signing.
First pre-season game, then Munster went out and got 14 red cards because
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
The rucking drill went down well.
It's the controlled aggression then is the problem with South Africans. They always just have like a hate against the other team. Did you watch that Rising Sun documentary?
No, it's meant to be
Where-
very good.
which one's that?
When South Africa, the build-up to winning the World Cup.
Oh no, I didn't watch it.
It's
Yeah, is
so
it good?
good.
It's meant to
if
be
you
so
haven't
good,
watched
yeah.
it. And they meet Japan in the semi-finals or something. Maybe it's the quarter-finals. And
Yes.
they have no reason for hating Japan. And it's in the
What did they
documentary,
make
you'll
up?
see it. So they went training for like a team run or something, and the little Japanese lads that were helping them out were like late with the water and didn't bring them water for ages. And Razzie got so pissed off. Well, he made up this reason to hate them. Said they want us to be hydrated. They dehydrated. They don't want us to win. They're like effing us up, and they came up with a reason to hate the Japanese just out of nothing.
And it worked.
And it worked, and they
Yeah.
won. So I'll be interested to see how that goes into Leinster, because I feel like the Leinster lads are a bit more chill than that. They're a bit more finesse. They come out of their lovely private schools.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah, but then they've had like Stewart wouldn't be any of that. You know, he wouldn't take any nonsense either. So
Yeah.
I think they'll be well adjusted to that hard mentality as well.
Hard mentality.
To an extent, I'm not sure what he's like, so I can't say to that what the level is. I don't think that rucking drill would
Crazy,
indicate
man.
maybe a step up, but it'll still be. I mean, we've had some sort of exposure to that. They've had some.
This is a new level of crazy.
It
we're
is, it
introducing.
was
Yeah,
nuts.
we're going to take this thing up
Yeah.
a notch. That's interesting.
My
Starts
thinking
flipping
is-
tables, like,
Yeah. Comes into the team room,
Yeah,
just
it's-
flipping stuff, holes in the wall.
What happened though is everyone started fighting in training the first couple
Ah,
of
stop.
weeks,
I'd imagine
and they had
so,
to like
that's what I was
calm it
thinking.
down.
Yeah,
like,
that's
do you know what I mean?
because you just start unleashing chaos. It starts getting a bit out of hand. Like, because
Yeah.
if he say that mentality is like, okay, if lads are going to get into that mindset, like you need to keep a lid on this because lads are going to go crazy here.
Yeah.
If you're starting like putting them in that people are going to be hurting your loved ones, like
I
I mean,
know.
it's just going to start getting a bit dangerous.
It's crazy.
I feel like P.O. Manny though like relished that.
Yeah,
He
do
did it.
you know
He
who-
thrived.
Do you know who like took to it like a duck to water was James Cronin?
Did he?
Used to play
Stop.
prop for
Yeah.
Munster.
Yeah.
He's over it.
Yeah.
He's
He
like
really saw a whole new
I
side
think-
He gets
to
up
him.
beating his chest.
Yeah.
just,
there was
love
some
this
injury. I
for
think
him.
the first session James Cronin went to David Kilcoyne and hurt him like in the
Oh,
first
stop.
session. I was like, oh no.
Skin and hair flying. That's it.
So yeah, I'll be interested to see how that goes in Leinster. But we better keep going, lads. Ulster, we said, beat Edinburgh 28-14. John Cooney ran the show, scored 18 points.
Yeah.
Kicked like a dream. Scored his own
Intercept
try.
try, yeah.
Intercept try. So it was beautiful. So Ulster have Connacht, as we said, in 2 weeks' time. And I can see Ulster. So if Ulster beat Connacht in that quarter-final, they then get their home
Semi-final,
semi-final,
Okay.
which is really big. That's massive for them.
I think that'll go well for them. I think they need to stay at home for the knockout stages because it's they built Kingspan as a fortress now. So they've come good. I think their form now has come, like they had obviously such a dip after losing to Leinster that it was just like that. I know it's like flicked a switch on them and they just like turned from this incredible team on a that everyone was like, oh, this is the only team that'll challenge Leinster in the URC, and then we beat them, and then it was just like turmoil for a couple couple of a long period of time anyway for them, and they're back good now. And obviously John Cooney hasn't been starting; he's been coming off the bench, so he started the weekend. So I think that'll do his confidence a world of good. But and obviously then they've been interchanged with Doak at 9, trying Doak at 10 for Billy Burns. So it'll be interesting to see. I think they can go with any combination once the lads are. You know, they can all play. It's just what combination is thriving at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they'll go.
What's the
they'll go
latest
well.
with John Cooney going to Scotland, Jason? Have you any update on that?
He hasn't signed yet, I know.
So he hasn't said anything yet, like, but he is eligible to.
He hasn't ruled it out, I believe, yeah.
See, but he's playing well.
Play for Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Seriously?
Yeah.
he's Scottish qualified.
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
somehow.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was trying to do a Ben Healy on it. He tried to jump on the Ben Healy train, and it took off without him. But,
He's still at the station. You forgot.
but maybe next year, because he's an incredible player. Like he runs
class,
the show for
class.
Ulster.
Yeah.
And anyone with a boot like that is, invaluable. Like,
I know. He should go to France.
What?
He should get a big paycheck in
They
France.
love their kicking nines
Love
as
their
well, don't they?
kicking nines, yeah. John, if you're listening, man, you can have all that advice for free.
Just signed a contract extension with Ulster, so.
John Cooney
Never
just signed
mind.
another Ulster.
Yeah, forget that.
Ah, jeez.
4 years.
2 more years. He must have something brewing up in Belfast, some business.
Rip that up.
Yeah.
Belfast's a good spot, yeah.
You could get a wad of cash playing down in France. Anyway,
You can do it in 2 years.
do it in 2 years' time. With playing at home, these home fixtures, Leinster obviously don't have to leave the Aviva Stadium or the RDS for the next couple of weeks. Every game seems to be there, which they deserve.
It's like the Dubs in football, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fair play to Leinster lads. The families would be delighted with that. But Ulster getting the quarter-final at home, maybe the semi-final if they beat Connacht. I never played at the top URC level or European level at home. Like, what's that like? Does it make that much of a difference playing at home?
Well, I haven't either, so I haven't played many like semi-finals or finals or anything like that. But it's sort of like one of those things you don't really think about it a whole pile, because it's sort of you're so used to, I suppose, every second week or every second game you're playing away throughout the season. But then it's just like the sort of subtleties of being able to sleep in your own bed the night before and being able to go down to the RDS and do the captain's run the day before, and you can chill out, and you just, again, I was talking about familiarity earlier. You have a lot of familiarity with obviously being at home, and you can go down and get a coffee, go for a walk, whatever you do, and it's sort of an easier routine than having to carry your bags around an airport trying to get onto the flight and the buses, and it just takes its toll a little bit subtly. And I don't think you realise that until, I suppose, you're fresh and having to travel and being out there. You don't really think about it. It's another thing, but I think it's definitely a massive advantage. Leaving fans aside, obviously it's huge having the line pit in full voice. Like,
The line pit. Oh my god.
But
you're dead right though. Yeah.
it's
Would you notice the fans though? Like, you've played in URC games and the RDS packed out. Would you notice the fans, or do you even your head just in a ruck somewhere?
oh no, yeah, you would, yeah, because momentum shifts, and you can really feel it. Like when something like I was at a football game yesterday, and it was Westmeath Louth game, and like we were winning about 8 points at half time, and the whole place was mostly Louth fans, and it's just silence, and then they get a couple of points, and then a goal goes in, and all of a sudden it's like this place just comes alive. And they eventually carried that momentum through, and there was no way they were going to lose it, because the fans and everyone's behind them, and it's just
The energy
it's
shift.
so big. Like in those big games as well, it's if you've got a majority of fans that are vocal and really behind their team and love it, like passionate, that's you can't replace that 100%.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Lindsay, we want to move on to the Ireland women's team. Now, they lost 48-0 at home to England, which on paper is not ideal, right? But I kind of looked into it a little bit more, and they held England scoreless for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And England are world finalists. They're the best. I think they're number 1 in the world, women's rugby.
Yes.
So, like, that's actually pretty decent to be able to do that. So there's something there.
Yes,
They weren't
absolutely.
just hockeyed for the whole game. There's something there, is there?
Yeah, that's the like England have beaten all 3 rounds has been more than 50 points they've put on their opposition. So, like, going into the game, I was on comms, and the 3 of us who were doing the analysis were kind of saying anything under 60 we'd be happy with, on just like because the bar had been set in the previous rounds.
Based off the other games, yeah.
Yeah. So 48-0, I know people are like, nah, it's a cricket score, but it actually, Ireland played really well. The girls scrambled defence, their work rate. I was chatting to Ailsa Hughes and Sam Monaghan yesterday. They came to our final. and they're sore. And Christy Haney as well. I was like, "Are you guys sore?" And they were like, how could you not be? Because like England are big. England look out of source now. Not to take away from the result, they really looked out of source. Really like unforced errors, like offloads, just expecting a white shirt to be there and turn over. So I think if I'm honest, I think they were looking ahead to the championship game this weekend with France. So they are both unbeaten going in. It's a sellout standalone in Twickenham. I think there's 50,000 tickets was the last time I heard sold. So new records being set there. Yeah, so that's huge. Yeah, but listen, we won't take away from the Ireland girls. I think there was their scrum was hugely positive. Their line out was a lot more consistent because actually on the stats they had done well against Wales and Italy statistically with their line out, but had really dropped against France. And I was thinking, right, when you're under pressure in your set piece, you've no launch ball for your backs or any set play like we've just spoke about even with Leinster. So it's essential to how good your attacking is going to be, your attacking platform. But like Ailsa had a great break off a scrum. We nearly got in for a couple of tries. Well, definitely one try off a maul. We could have went blind. There was a mismatch, and it was just that's the naivety of the inexperience. But I think that time will come. So all eyes are on Edinburgh this weekend because Scotland beat Italy, so it's not ideal. So they both have points on the boards, and Ireland have no wins. So if we've to have any hope, so England, France and Wales have qualified. They're guaranteed qualification for Tier 1 of this new WX15s. And it'll be now...
Break that down a little bit for people that don't understand this Tier 1 stuff.
Yes, so basically there's new, obviously, WX15s. So this is a now worldwide competition to bring in extra games that World Rugby have devised. That's going to start in November this year. So basically, whoever finished in the top 3 of this year's Six Nations was going into Tier 1. So that's the likes, they'll go in with the likes of USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. So all the top, basically world class, like the top tier of the world rankings, just the best teams in the world, they'll go into this Tier 1 and they'll play off. And then now 4th and 5th will play off. Well, whoever finishes 4th and 5th, one of them will go against the playoff with Spain for Tier 2, and then whoever finished last will go into Tier 3.
So that's what we're fighting for, is to get into Tier 2.
Yeah, well, at this stage, I'd say it's going to be a playoff with Spain, and then whoever wins that playoff will go into Tier 2. So that's as far as I know, that's my understanding of it. So loads of conundrums now, but like going away to Edinburgh, we're on the back of a loss. Scotland are on the back of a big win against Italy. They actually played well. I caught the end of that game after the girls' game finished in Cork. So, yeah, Scotland played well. Jade Conkle is back. Rachel Malcolm, obviously, as their captain, played well. Lisa Thompson is back. I think Helen Nelson had her 50th cap. So, like, they have some big names with a lot of experience there. Some youth coming in as well.
So your heart obviously says Ireland will win. What's your head saying, though? Do you think we have a chance of beating Scotland away in Edinburgh?
Do you know, I do actually. If we can give the endeavour and the work rate that we showed against England, and we can finalise, you know, we showed glimpses of some good set piece, some good back plays. We actually won some collisions. We got some gain line momentum. So if we can get from football and build on that and not turn over the ball in the opposition's 22, like, that's what I'd like to see from them. Like, when you're in the opposition 22, as you know, like, we can't come away without any points. So if you've gone 3 times to 22 and you're not really getting to the try line, we'll take the 3 points. Do you know? So we need to get points on the boards and have a bit more game management about it, and basically bring all of the learnings. And we said this was going to be incremental changes. All the learnings, all the positives over the previous 4 rounds. If we could see them all come in one consistent performance now away in Edinburgh, I think we'll do well. Like, we played Scotland in Kingspan last year, and it was an Enya Breen, like, a try in the 80th minute, and she converted her own try, and we just got over the line, and we didn't get the wooden spoon, you know. But would you want to be Scotland? Like, Scotland have that, and you know, that's going to be their motivation, you know, going into this.
Yeah. Well, we hope the girls can do it for us, hopefully. It's tough. It is tough. We understand, but they're trying their best, and they also had that 30-minute period against the best team in the world. So it's there somewhere, and just work on that, and hopefully we get.
And they had a crap they had a crap couple of weeks media wise, and you know, all eyes have been on them. So look,
everyone just needs to leave them alone. Let them do their thing.
Ireland win.
Yeah, there you go. You heard it here first.
We're all behind you, girls.
Yeah.
Okay, so The man of the moment, Mr. Conor O'Brien.
Hola.
Before we finish up, I just want to kind of touch on your career. So you're a Mullingar man.
Yep.
But I believe that you are more of a hurler and a footballer, and that rugby was your third love.
It was when I first started, yeah, because I only started around 11, I'd say. Maybe I'm not actually 100% sure, but it was around then. And then I was GA. My dad, they're Offaly. My mum and dad are both from Offaly.
He won an under 21 All Ireland, I believe. The county's only won.
1988, yeah. They won the under 20s there 2 years ago. So
they beat Dublin.
But
they did.
Yeah, and then the age grade obviously was changed, but yeah, it was similar enough.
But you played hurling for Westmeath.
Yeah, football as well.
And you played football to minor level with Westmeath as well. That's pretty
good, I wasn't really
man.
playing football that much. And then I came back in the off season with the rugby, and I got called into the All Ireland quarterfinal of the minor that year against Mayo. So I only played one game, but it was a tough game. I was out on my feet for the whole game.
What's your position?
I was midfield.
I was going to think,
but I'm playing a bit now, going in reverse. I'm taking it very easy. Like I went back and felt a nick in my hamstring. I got concussed. I'm taking it very easy, but the fitness is just completely different. My God,
it's very quick, isn't it? The repeatability,
yeah. It's just a different fitness, It's more constant and acceleration, deceleration. Rugby's you just have to go balls out, and then you get your break, go again, sort of thing. So it's slightly different. It's more constant, and it's very enjoyable, I have to say. But I would have been GA through and through, and the professionalism of rugby, I suppose, was a main attraction for me. But
of course, it paid off in the end, and you ended up getting spotted through the club system, which is interesting.
It did.
So you played for Mullingar or ORFC, and then went into sub academy, was it? Yeah.
So it would have been Mullingar, and then you go into the Midlands, and then Leinster, 18s, 19s, 20s, sub academy sort of thing. So
you did every step along the way.
I did it all pretty much. Nice. I didn't play Leinster 19s actually. I went from 18s to 20s.
But that's when you know you're good, when you skip.
Well,
the not really category. I can say that.
I think it was just because I was in Dublin anyway for college. So I think it was.
He's being modest.
Wayne Mitchell was being kind to me, I think. But it's just a different path. But again, it's there's still opportunities there for anyone with the ability and the drive to go and do it.
Yeah.
No one really gets overlooked in this day and age, I'll say that. So, and the coaching level is, you do have to make more of an effort to, I was, twice or three times a week going up with a carload of lads after school, secondary school, going up to Bray or Naas to do a sort of I think it's I don't even know, I can't even remember the name of what it was, but it was for say 5 lads in your region that were good, and we're going to get called into probably the Irish or the
talent identification program.
Exactly, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, and that was because it was an hour, both ways, after school twice a week. So
some shifts after school.
Yeah, that was probably those sort of things are maybe a little bit more difficult, but I mean, if the effort and you want to do it, it's worth it. And
it paid off, because then you ended up making it into the Leinster senior team, which is incredible. And as we said earlier, you 28 caps, 30 points, which means you scored 6 tries. That's decent, man.
It wasn't 10 drop goals. But no, it was. I suppose looking back on it, it's good. I never really reflect on it too much. It was obviously a bitter sweet sort of career.
Well, that's the thing. Unfortunately, you had to retire at the age of 26. You hadn't even reached your peak, arguably, and you just had this hamstring injury that you just couldn't shake off. It's quite common across a couple of lads, but yours was worse, I've heard. You had 3 surgeries on it.
Yeah.
Do you
My
want to give
peak
us
was
a quick synopsis?
probably when I was about 12 years of age. But then after that, then it's sort of come down. So I had 2 right hamstrings, my left ACL, my left hamstring.
Oh my God!
It was just the time frame. It was 2 years sort of period. So
that was all in 2 years.
Yeah, and they're all kind of back to back, pretty much. So.
Oh God!
I don't know.
That is so hard.
Looking down on me saying, "Don't play rugby," kind of thing. Something's telling me not to. So it was difficult, but it sort of galvanises you, because nothing really can bother me too much anymore. With regards to negativity or something happening to me, I don't really care too much for feeling sorry for myself. So these things make you stronger. I know it's kind of cheesy, but it is.
No, I
100%
agree with
true.
that so much, man. I love that you've taken a positive swing in it as well.
Yeah, well, there's no point sitting down crying about it. Either,
Yeah.
lying around,
Yeah.
being upset the whole time.
Yeah.
It's sad, but I mean, it is what it is. We move.
Was it tough initially? And was it a big conversation, or was the decision back on you, or was it taken out of your hands with?
Bit of both, yeah.
Yeah.
It was sort of like, look, I think it's time to this one is kind of, it's not really going away. Lingering pain, and then it just wasn't right. I went back to come back on it, and in training I just tore, and it was sort of like the conversation was had then and there, and I sort of knew that it was my time. So it was, the honeymoon period's over now. It's, I'm working away, and it is difficult.
Yeah.
It's not
To
as
change
easy.
your life.
Yeah, it is way different, and I mean, I work from home, and hybrid sort of, maybe in the office one day a week. And it's
What do you do? Or can we ask?
I work in a digital transformation company called Tech Enabled. So yeah, we're sort of an IT company there, just down the road. So
It's very modern, very fancy.
very modern, yeah.
But I do agree with you. I retired through choice, but you had to retire through injury. So I just think it is really. I found it hard, but I can only imagine how hard it is for someone that has to retire through injury and the transition. People don't realise, Lindsay, you haven't finished completely yet, but you finished like playing for Ireland, where you go from every day going in training with like 30 of your best mates, and then all of a sudden on a Monday morning you're sitting in your room working from home, and it's just such a big change. But it is part of the lifestyle, and it's part of the choice to play professional rugby. And a lot of people would bite your left hand off to have done what you did. Like, you played for the best team in Europe. You played for Ireland under-20s. You beat the All Blacks. You're in that team that beat the All Blacks in World Rugby. So, like, when you look at it on paper, you had a really good career.
Yeah.
And I presume you look back on it positively.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did look back on it positively until you said all that stuff. Now I'm kind of sad. I wish I could go back and do it all again.
Yeah. But beating
nobody lessons. Yeah, it is what it, like. I mean, that's life. Like, I mean, we only have 80 or 90 years on the planet. I did good things for a couple of years, and I plan on doing good things in the years to come as well. So there's more to life than rugby, and there's people in way worse situations. So I'm completely happy, although I would like to be out there playing, you know, and getting ready, hopefully, to be playing in finals rugby. It's not the hand I was dealt, and I'm completely okay with that. So I'm just going to go after my career like a dog with a bone, and you know, I'll be quite content.
Love that. Yeah. Well, you've been there, done it, got the t-shirt, got the caps. But your favourite moment, what would have been? Would have been beating the Baby Blacks in the World Cup?
That was good, yeah. But then we went. I was talking about Glasgow that time, and it's kind of a peculiar one. But we went to Glasgow. I made my debut, and I played really, really, really bad. I thought I was going to hang up my boots then and there. Like, I never thought I was going to play again. And I went and we played them. I think it was the year after, or maybe 2 years after, and it was sort of like this grudge game, because that was a game that we were reminded of every week, for like 2 years or a year and a half. And we were like, you know, these guys, we have nearly, like, they literally were up on the wall, in, like, because, you know, there are a couple of motivation pieces, just like previous victories, previous defeats, and that was one of them. So we were looking at this thing the whole time. And myself, Jimmy, and Will, and Hugo were playing, so we had the 4 Musketeers playing, and we went out and beat them. And that was just it was a freezing, you know, -1 degrees in Scottstown, and freezing cold, and we just ground it out, and it was probably just the most satisfying. I think a lot of lads would say that was one of their more satisfying ones. So
That's
it's a bit mad, yeah. And I had some good days with Clontarf, obviously, then as well, and AILs.
You won AIL, yeah.
And then Mullingar back in the day and things like that. So I've loads of good memories.
I think Clontarf just scraped their semi-final win the
it's
weekend,
mad
didn't
how
they?
the season goes. They were blowing everything out of the
13-12
water, and then
was
it
it,
just scraped 13-12 at the weekend. So looking forward to an AIL final now, hopefully in the Aviva.
Against Terranure,
Yeah, it'd be a good game.
Oh yeah, I was wondering who won that. It was young one.
Terranure
Sorry,
beat your
it was
Munsters
Cork
by
on,
1
was it?
point.
Yeah.
Oh,
Was it
no,
Munster?
oh no, sorry, Tarf beat your Munsters,
Yeah.
Terranure beat
Cork on, was
Cork
it?
on, yeah. Both home teams won. It'd be a good final, Clontarf, Terranure.
Very good.
But that's mad that, like, I don't know if you know, you lived with Hugo Keenan, Will Connors, Jimmy O'Brien?
No, not Hugo. Hugo was next door to us.
In his own house.
we had like there was about 10 or 8 or 10 Leinster lads living in that sort of cluster of houses just in behind the church there on Clonskee. I probably shouldn't have said that then. Like they were going to have
all the
Fans going.
all the fans would be like, ooh.
Yeah, exactly. But no, there's loads of lads in there, and it is good crack to say the least. But it's very, very fun living with the lads, and I was sorry to move out, but it just sort of made sense. I was able to work remotely, and
I think the Leavys are in there as well.
the Leavys are in there.
Dan and Adam
Robbie
Levy.
Henshaw, and
All the lads are in
Ronan
there.
Keller,
Jeez.
Caelan Dara, Kieran Frawley, Michael Mill, back out the lads there. There's like honestly about 8 or 10.
No way.
Give us that address
That's
now. We'll
probably
go
why-
after the show.
Probably why Leinster's so good. They're all hanging out with each other. They're all best mates.
Yeah, just
They all live
gaming
in
and
the
go
same
for
house.
coffee.
Yeah. Sharing everything. Sharing jocks, the whole lot.
We don't
Ah,
leave really. We don't really
sharing
leave the
jobs.
building. You know, we just live in the gym.
Yeah.
Just pull out your sleeping bag and go to bed. Like.
That's brilliant. That's hilarious.
That's the secret now.
Yeah.
They
So-
just live in the gym.
That's it, exactly, yeah. So going forward, you're working in this IT tech company.
I am,
You're
yeah.
playing for
Mullingar Shamrocks.
Mullingar Shamrocks,
Yeah.
nice.
I could see you in a Westmead jersey now.
No.
No?
No, I'm not. I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible at it. I'm playing a bit of junior football.
Is it casual, or are you
Nah,
kind of
it's
hoping
casual.
to play county or something?
No. Casual. Yeah. I'm
You're only
terrible.
26,
Awful.
27?
Yeah, but sure, I don't have a left hand.
There's an awful smell of fucking shite here now.
Oh,
After that.
just-
Oh, yeah.
No,
I'm playing
honestly, sure,
junior football.
I can't really run that fast or well at all.
Because of the hamstring.
Yeah.
Are you
Oh,
full back
fair,
now?
fair.
You're just kind of reading the game and
No, I'm still midfield, trucking around.
Stop.
Yeah, walking.
Playmaker.
Yeah, literally just like getting by.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. I'm telling you, it's a tough game.
I feel like we're gonna have to go on a snoop now and
yeah,
watch him.
there'll be some like recorded footage of
Yeah.
me like,
Sprint.
scoring an own point or something. You know, headed it into my own net.
Would you
Or
lo-
the opposite, you're like this colossus who's like absolutely ruling the
it's
game.
definitely not that. But no, it's good. It's good, and I'll tell you, like some of my best mates from home are playing.
Ah, lovely.
And I grew up with them, and they're my best mates, and that's really enjoyable, and
Yeah.
that is quite special, I will say.
That's good, Craig.
Because there's something a little bit different about the GA when it comes to that sort of bond and togetherness. And actually, I only think about it now. It's like why Leinster might be so good as well, is because like, say you're Blackrock and Michaels, which is the two sort of main areas that Leinster would pull their players from. It'd be very similar feeling that I feel playing, say, football for Shamrocks that they would playing rugby for Leinster. Like they're growing up the whole time, and that's what they do, and that's where they're going towards. And I think that's possibly one of the secrets to the success will be that sort of sense of the fact that they've been prepping for this since they came out of the womb.
Yeah.
So,
you all grew up together.
yeah,
like, it's
exactly.
just
Yeah.
class, yeah.
And it's just like you've that natural feeling of togetherness is hard to, I suppose, make or pay for.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I don't know if you heard about everyone giving out about Leinster having these home fixtures and this big budget, but the thing is,
Never
like,
heard of
all their homegrown players, like, they're getting these fellas for free. They're
Yeah.
growing up in,
Yeah.
in Naas and whatever, like, so.
they do
Sure.
have a big population to pull from, obviously.
Yeah.
And then your main source of players is from fee-paying schools, which the majority are in Dublin. So there is obviously massive advantages compared to other places. But
Yeah, but that's just like a great schooling system. Like, and these like private schools are basically mini academies. Like,
they are, yeah.
yeah,
So how do you compete with that then? It's like it's tough, you know. It's like the game in other places isn't as structured as well as in Dublin. So it's sort of one of those things that, but it's not for a lack of trying, because I will say that I think the union are very good for expanding the game and trying to get as many people playing as possible. So with regards to the structure, it's not as good, but then the actual opportunity to play the game, I think, is pretty okay compared to some other sports or other
course it is,
countries in the
yeah.
world. So
yeah.
it's tricky though.
It is. It's a tricky one, but Leinster got it right.
There's always going to be like a best team in a certain place, and Leinster for years were not good. So just because they got it right, I mean, at the right time, it's the same with Dublin and the football.
Yeah.
I keep alluding to it, but like they weren't good for 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
Very limited success on All Ireland stage, and Leinster the same. We were the whipping boys for a long time. So in the early 2000s and stuff like that. So I think they brought in the right people, made the right decisions on and off the pitch, and they're reaping the rewards. So I don't think there should be punishment per se for it. I think it's up to the rest of the people to catch up.
Completely, yeah. I couldn't agree more. As a Munster man as well, I couldn't agree more. Unfortunately, guys, that's all we have time for. But before we go, we're going to do our never stop competing moment of the week.
Yep.
Oh, of course, we're going to give it to Munster.
Yeah.
After their comeback from 19-3 down, 22-3 down to draw 22-all against the Sharks away and get those 2 points we needed, which is great. Well done, Munster. Proud of you, boys.
Give it to Leinster now.
Not for last week, but
Wasn't 6.
New
I'll give it to Mike Milner.
new
for getting the
record
try.
set.
We gave it to Leinster last week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, never stop competing. Yeah, our never stop competing moment of the week goes to Munster for their comeback draw against Sharks. Well done, lads. And that's it for the show. Thank you so much, Connor.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it a lot.
For your
Had
insight.
fun.
And best of luck with everything.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
you're a
Thanks.
gentleman.
Thank you very
Great
much.
to have you on
Really
the show.
Appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, and so this week we have the European Cup. Leinster are playing Toulouse.
Yes, they are.
And La Rochelle are playing Exeter. Hopefully your brother will be playing.
Hopefully, I'm on a flight to France
Oh,
this weekend
nice.
to watch.
Oh,
Best
no,
of luck,
very
Sean O'Brien,
nice.
in the centre.
In the centre.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the URC quarterfinals will be the following week, guys. But we will see you on Monday. Catch you then. And a big thank you, of course, to Bank of Ireland, our sponsors, proud supporters of the 4 Irish provinces. We'll catch you next week.
Joe presents House of Rugby, together with Bank of Ireland, proud supporter of the 4 Irish provinces.